Hello? Hello? Okay, let's get started. Welcome to Lab1. My name is Ray Lee. I just finished my master degree on UNSW, and I'm currently doing the research program with Professor Mahab. So I think I will do my best to help you to get a HD or higher marks in this course. And I got a GitHub link for these labs. I will send it on the chat. Please kindly have a check of it. I will put some useful links and the recording of the labs and the slides of the labs into this GitHub. And sometimes I will also share some like midterm notes or final notes here. You can have a check of it. So it may be helpful for you. Okay, let's see what we have today. Today we just have a look of lab 1, and I will do the demonstration for each question, and then let's have a look of the report, because you may have no idea how to do the report, what will be the format, and is there any requirement for the report. So we will see. And the last one will be the submission, because we will use the GIF system to do the submission. I think you can do the submission via through the CMS, but you can also do it through the VLab. So I will show you later. Let's have a look at Lab 1. Before we do the Lab 1, just make sure you know what is VLab, because this is very important for our lab submission. All the labs should be done under the VLab environment instead of your own computer. So let's have a look of it. Here is a link. I can show you this one. We'll also send it to the chat. If you didn't uninstall the VLab, just click this link and go through each steps. If you are using the Windows, just download the VNC viewer by clicking the link here, okay? And if you are using Linux, just use this command to install the VLab. So we are using the VNC software to connect to the VLab, which is a Linux machine. Yeah, just follow these steps. Should be easy for you. And if you have some trouble on installation of this kind of stuff, just post your question on the forum or just ask me later so I can help you. And the most easiest way to use the VLab is to click this link here. Let me click it. It will be like this. So you are not required to install any stuff. Just choose one of them and put your ZID and your password. And then you'll be able to log into the VLab. Okay, so this is our VLab. So all the labs should be done under this environment. So, okay, this one is very important because if you are doing the lab under your under your own environment, under your own network, you may have totally different results. It may affect your marks. So just be aware of that. All the labs should be done under the VLab environment. This one is very important. So after the login, basically what we need to do is just to open the terminal here. Can you see that? On the left-hand side, open the terminal. Then we will use some command here. Let's have a look. What kind of command should we use in this lab? Okay. Let's back to the lab. Here are the commands that we need to learn. Probably not all of them, but yeah, you should know most of them. So if you have no idea, for example, the ping, what is the ping command, or what is the traceroute command, what is the net stats or something other stuff, especially for the red one, then you may do your own research before you do the lab. So I strongly recommend you to have a look of this link under here. So you can access it through this link. Just click the button here, activities. You see that, this one? Click it. And here are the Lab 1 exercise, right? And we enter the Lab 1 exercise here. And then you can see the prerequisites. Here, introduction to the tools of trade. So you have some tutorial or demonstration for the commands that we need to use, such as the ping command. What you need to do is just follow the instruction here, just go through them and type this kind of command one by one. for example, maybe you can go through like this, and you see we need to ping a host, right? So we just back to the VLab, like ping host. Then you may see unknown host. So what does this mean? You may have some trouble. So where host is the name of IP address, right? So we just replace it with an IP address, let's say 127.0.0.1. And then we can run the ping command here. And we use the Control C to abort this command to stop it. And then we can go to the next line, let's say, see the ping -s packet size host, right? And option what does this mean? Packet size is the number of data bytes to be sent. The default is 56. So we can use this command here, ping -s, and the packet size, let's say 100 bytes, and to the host of 127.0.0.1 here. So we can send the 100 bytes to the destination here. And we used Control+C to abort this command. Control+C, okay? And we go to the next line. We can set an interval for this command. As you can see here, use the -i. We just use the same thing again, ping -i, and the interval, let's say 5 seconds. And then the same address. And let's see. So as you can see, the interval is 5 seconds instead of 1 second. It's much slower, right? And let's try the quicker one. Change the file to, can we try 0.1? Yeah, it have some limits. The minimum number of that is 0.2. Let's see that. Okay, this one is much quicker. Can you see that? So that's the way we learn this kind of command. Just go through this paragraph one by one and try this command and see if you have any trouble of it. So if you have any trouble, just feel free to ask me or just post it on the forum. Okay. And I'm not going to show all the commands here. Before you do the Lab1, you should like go through all of them. And then you should be able to know what are they and how we use them. Okay. But don't worry if you cannot remember all of them, because even for me, I cannot understand or remember all the stuff. Once I need to use them, I just have a check of here or search online. So yeah, that's all. Just go through this page before you do the Lab1. Okay, let's back to the Lab1 content. See what's next. I think that's all. Just go through that page and you'll be fine. And then we can go to the exercise 1. And here, this one, exercise 1 here. Okay, let's see what we have in the exercise 1. It says use the Nslookup command, right? So because you may be not familiar with the Nslookup command, so we can have a look. What is the Nslookup command here? We can read through this one, but I will just skip this paragraph. You can read it by yourself. let's just run it here. As you can see, the host, which can be a like domain, or it can be an IP address. Let's see. Let's try a simple one, like Nslookup. Look up for what? Let's look up for google.com. Google.com. Okay, this one. So I run the Nslookup command for the google.com here and press the enter. You can see, what is this? So we got a server address and the address of this kind of stuff. We don't know what is this, right? And the second line is the non-authoritative answer. We got an answer for the google.com of the Nslookup command. And it says the name of Google. The address is this one. So what does this mean? So this means we are like querying something through a server about the google.com. What is the IP address of the google.com? Let me tell you how could this happen. So let me open the whiteboard here. Let's assume this is your computer. The computer is here. And this one is the Google server. Okay, these two. Let's say your computer is here. And how do you connect to the Google server? So you may think once you type the google.com, you may just directly find the Google server, but it is wrong because the computer does not know the IP address of Google server because you put a www.google.com, right? It will be like this. Sorry. Once you type google.com, your computer will first send this stuff to a server. We call it DNS server. DNS server is another server that you can send the URL to them, and then they can reply you with an IP address. Let's say it will tell you the IP address of it will be the. Let's say I will just give a random number. Let's say this one. This one is the fake. It's just for an example. So first you put an URL into a browser, then your computer will firstly contact the DNS server and ask what is the IP address of Google server. And then it will tell you it's 8.8.8.8. And then you can just visit 8.8.8 to get the Google content. So does that make sense? So that is how DNS server work. So once you type a URL into your browser like this, google.com. So firstly, our computer will send this URL to the DNS server to do the query. So what is the IP address of google.com? And then it will tell us what is the IP address of them. And then our computer can finally reach the server and get the content, get the web page from them. I think this one should be pretty simple. If you do not understand, just don't worry. We will know it like in next week, I think. It will be the lecture content. But if you don't know it, just don't worry too much. I just want you to have like deeper understand of the Nslookup. So basically what we do with the Nslookup is just do the same in this step. So it's querying the IP address of an URL. So in here, we use the Nslookup for the google.com. So we will send this URL to this server address, 129.94.252.45 here. So we will ask this server, what is the IP address of google.com? And it gave us an answer of here. He told us it is 142.250, this one. So that's how it works. So we use the Nslookup command to query the IP address of URL. If that makes sense? And then let's back to here. And you may consider, what is this mean? It seems a non-official answer here. What does this mean? But it's not very important here. If you are interested with this, just search by yourself and you may have your own answer. But we may know this in like probably 1 or 2 weeks later. But I'm not going to make this question very complicated here. So for now, all you need to do is to understand what is Nslookup and how can we use it, okay? And yeah, let's back to the first question here. Come to the question. What is the IP address of the website? This one. So this one should be pretty easy for you, right? Because all we need to do is to run the nslookup command for this website. Let me do the demonstration for you. So what is the IP address? We just run the nslookup for that website, koala. Sorry, I don't remember. Koala. Oh, what? .com.au. So just run this command, and then we can get a result. Just be careful. This one is the DNS server IP address, and this one is the answer of the query. Okay. So as you can see here, we got 2 answers here, but which one is the right thing? We don't know. Probably we can have a look of it, right? Probably both of them are the right answer. Then let's see the second question. In your opinion, what is the reason for having several IP addresses as an output? So why we have 2 IP addresses here? Do you have any idea? So with the same server, with the same URL, we have 2 different IP addresses. So I will give you a hint here. But I'm not going to tell you the answer because it's just the question. If I tell you all the stuff, all you need to do is just copy and pasting. So I want you to do some research by yourself, but I will give you a keyword, which is load balancing and load distribution. So you can do the like searching by yourself. And yeah, let's go to the second question. Find out the name of the IP address. So what is the name of IP address? So in here, we just need to run the nslookup again, nslookup of the address, this one, then we will get the answer. So what is the name? It calls localhost, right? So what is localhost? Basically, it means it is our own machine. So we can use this address to represent our own address. So obviously we can use this address to like do the test or do other stuff we need, but basically it's for the testing. So we can send some stuff to ourselves. And we also call it loopback address, this one, loopback. We good? Do you have any question related to the exercise one? This one should be pretty easy for you. If you have any question, just feel free to open your mic or type on the chat. Let me see, we got a question here. I'm getting ping unknown host. Okay, so you are getting this question, this problem, ping host, right? You have this problem. Is it correct? Okay, you have this question. I think you just did not read all the stuff on the instruction here. It says we can run this command, right? You just follow it, but you find a problem. Why? Because you didn't read this sentence. The host is the name or IP address of a host. So you should replace the host with something other. Let's say a google.com or an IP address. So you need to replace it, the host, with another stuff. Let's say unsw.edu.au. Then you will find no problem, right? Okay. And how can I know my own IP address? I will tell you a simplest way to do it to know your IP address, okay? This one should be the most easiest method. Just open the browser here, no matter Chrome or Firefox. And then type what is my IP here. Just ask Google and it will tell you your IP address is this one. Okay. Okay, this one is the most easiest way. And you can also like run some command like ipconfig, ifstats, or other stuff to show your IP address on the terminal. But for now, if you have no idea how to do it, probably just go through the Google, just type what is my IP and you will get it. So if you want to have like more advanced or more cool way to get your IP address, like in the terminal, you can do some search. Should be pretty easy. And once you get your own IP address, you can try to like ping it or do some other command with it. Let's say we can do the ping ourselves. Yeah. And here are the results. And we can also play around with other commands, trace routes. This you got an output here. Something like this. Just play around with it. Okay, we cool? So there's no problem with the exercise one, I guess. Okay, then let's go to the next one. Next one, let's see what is the key point is we are using the ping command here. So the basic step is to ping each URL in the list. If it's unreachable, check if you can open it with the browser. And let's see what we have in the second exercise. Here, they ask us to use the ping to test this host. So we got a list here, right? What we need to do is to use the ping command to play with them one by one. I will show you the first one. So to use the ping command here, what should we do is to open page here. I will clear it. Use the ping command ping and plus the host name here is unsw. Type all the stuff we have here. Sorry, I got stuck. Okay, so as you can see here, we are paying the UNSW server, and you can see there the response, which means we are paying this IP address, and the sequence number is this one, and the time to live, and what is the TTL, and the response time. So as you can see here, it's clearly this server is responding us. So we can reach this server. Okay, then let's try another one. Let's try the hola.hp, okay? PING and the hola.hp. And let's see how it works. It says unknown host hola.hp. So do you still remember what is our step? The first step is to ping them, but if it's unreachable, which means if we have some trouble on the ping command, it cannot show any response, then we check if we can open them with the browser. So the address is hola.hp. So we just open the browser and see if we can open the hola.hp. Hola.hp, if we can open it. Not this one. You can see there's no result. Hola.hp. We cannot reach this website. It just sent us to the Google page. So there is no this kind of website. Then you need to explain why we can't reach this website. It may have several reasons. I will give you two here. The first one is this website does not exist. So there's no website called this domain, called this string. And the second reason is the security reason. You may find some website, we cannot ping them, but we cannot browse them, but we can browse them on the browser. So it's kind of weird, right? You will find one of them is in this case. So you can try them one by one, and you may find some IP address is not reachable with the browser, but you can ping them with your terminal. So you also need to explain how could this happen. Okay. So if we have any question to the exercise 2. Since we don't have any questions, okay, just let me know if you do have some. Let's go to the next one. Have a look of the question at first. It asks us to use the trace route, trace route. Let's have a look of the first one. Just run the command with this website, right? And how many routers are there between your workstation and this one? So at first, we need to know what is trace route, trace route. Can someone tell me how to pronounce? But I will explain how this works. Yeah, we can do something with this one. I just delete them. This. Let's say we are trying to visit Google server, right? Like in here. So the Google server may be very far from our computer. Let's say you need to reach your router at first, and your router will go to the Telstra server, and the Telstra server will also go to the, like, let's say California server here, and it will finally reach the Google server, and then it can get back to you. So what if we want to list all the router between my computer and the Google server here? So what we need to do is we will do a trace route command here to list all of them. Like we want to list how many routers are there between our computer and the Google server here. We can clearly see there are 3. So how can we use a command to list all of them? Then we can use this command, trace route google.com. I run this command and it will output some results, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see there are 10 outputs here, which means the first router next to our computer is this one, and the second router next to the first router is this one. So we will go through these routers to reach the Google server. Does this make sense? So here are the question. How many routers are there between them? You may say, oh, we got 10 routers, right? So the number probably is 10. But actually, it is wrong because it's 9. Do you know why? So there are 9 routers between our computer and the Google server. Do you know what is the reason for that? Instead of 10. Okay, so the reason is because the last one, this one, is Google server itself. So this one is our destination instead of the router. So that's the reason why we say it only have 9 routers between our computer and the Google server. Let's try another one. Columbia.edu. You can see there are 24 outputs here. Make it larger. There are 24 outputs here. So how many routers between our computer and the Columbia.edu? Obviously, it's 23, right? Because the last one is the destination. Okay, so here are the key things. Router number equals hops number minus 1. So just 24 minus 1 is 23. So you may have different answers, just show us. And what's next is here. Between which two routers do packets cross the Pacific Ocean? And it says, ask us to compare the round trip times, use the ping command. So basically, we don't need to ping them because we have already get a trip time here, right? So just compare, because we are crossing the Pacific Ocean, the physical distance is very long, which means the signal may need much time than the normal one. So as we can see here, we just compare the interval between different routers. As we can see here, the interval is like 70 milliseconds. And this one with this one is 100 milliseconds. So probably in these three, they are crossing the Pacific Ocean, right? So how can we double check all this? I have several methods to do it. So the first method, we can use the easiest way, just to copy the IP address here. Let's copy it. And search, where is this IP address? We can search it. Where is this IP address? It says it's in Australia, right? It's in Kensington. Okay, then let's back to here. See the next one. Which one did we choose before? 129. So I guess it's I can't see them. Probably check this one, I think. 113. I should check this one again. See the eighth one. So where is this one? 113.197.14.137. Can see. Yeah, it doesn't have any results, but we can use the link in the lab here. I think it's in here. This one, we got a link here. You get signal. So we just copy the IP address. This IP address 113. I can't copy it. Sorry, I will just type it. So it's 113.197.14.137. So we can use this tool to check. It's still in Australia, right? So we just check the other one. The nice one is 138. is 138.44.228.5. Okay, it's still in Australia. Then we check the next one, this one. So it's 13253. Yeah, and we found this one is in United States. So from here, we reach United States. But this one is still in Australia. But how could this happen? As you can see here, there are only like 0.1 milliseconds difference from Australian to United States. How could this happen? This is because the this IP address is actually under the Pacific Ocean, but it is registered under the name of an Australian company. So we can search this IP address, probably is inside the Australia, but actually this IP address is under the Pacific Ocean. So you need to like do some research and do the search by yourself and explain this, how could this happen? And just have a guess which IP address we cross the Pacific Ocean here. Okay. So basically just search what is the physical location of the IP address through this tool. Okay, I think that's all for the question here. Let's have a look of the second question. Trace route with these 3 different websites and see which path is diverged. So what does this question mean? Let's see. We create a new one. Probably we can use this one. So let's say the top one is our IP address. This one is our own computer. So there are a lot of routers connected to our computer. And then we need to have a check or connect to other server, like let's say Tokyo.jp and the UCLA.edu. And probably our computer may connect it to a router at first, and then it diverged in some place to reach the other server like this. So all we need to do is to draw a picture like this and write down the IP address. Let's write down the IP address here and the let's write down some IP address like this. And then we can say, the routers is diverged in this IP address, in this router. Does that make sense? So how can we get the IP address of them? We can use the trace route command of their website, ucla.edu. It's ucla.edu. And we can run another terminal, do the trace route. Again, is for the Tokyo. Tokyo.ac.jp. So what to do is to compare them. It's very hard to compare, isn't it? They have lots of outputs here. I guess it's to open one terminal here. And traceroute like this. So what we need to do is to compare the output you like this. So we will run the traceroute command at first. And here are the outputs. So we just compare them one by one, see what is the difference. We can see the first router is the same, right? This one is the same. And the second one is also the same. So they go through the same router. And let's see the third one. The third one is a little bit different, right? We can see the difference here. It's 3.5, and this one is 3.4 here. So it diverged on the second IP address, on the second router. Does that make sense? So we will just draw a picture like this. It diverged on the second one, but this one is on the first one. So you need to draw this kind of graph to make it easier. And we are not only doing two here. As you can see in the question, we have 3 different URL for you. So you need to check 3 of them and see which router is diverged. Very good. Let's go to the next question here. As you can see here, it gave us 2 URL here. So what is this kind of stuff? These 2 websites, we just click it. You can see a text box here, right? So what we need to do, we need to put our IP address here. So do you remember how we get the IP address of our computer? It's to run the browser and type what is my IP, then you will get your own IP address. Okay. And then we can open the web page here and put your IP address here, 116, and press enter. Then wait a little bit. Then you will get some result here. Can you see that? So here are the traceroute results from their server to our own computer. Does that make sense? So let me make a draw for you. It's like this. So on the top is our own computer, and on the bottom is the Telstra server. So they are connected with some routers. So what we need to do at first is to run the traceroute command from Telstra server to our own local host. And then we run the same stuff, the traceroute, from our own computer to the Telstra server to see what is the difference of them. Because we want to see if they go through the same route. Let's say from our computer, probably our computer think this path is the shortest path, and then it will go through like this. But the Telstra server may go by this way to reach our server. It really depends. And the real situation may be more complicated than this one. So we want you to discover, do they use the same path? And if they do not use the same path, how could this happen? Okay. So basically, you need to do is to run this command from your computer to the Telstra server and use this web page to run the traceroute command from Telstra server to your own computer. This one is a little bit complicated. So if you are confused, just probably just have a look of it later. So do we have any question for this question? Here are the instruction here, the steps. Let's have a look of it. Just to repeat, we need to have a check of these two websites here. Under here, just click it. And then here are the box. We can put some IP address here and do the submit. It will run the trace route for us. Like this. And then we need to run the trace route from the website to our own IP address. It's something like this. And the third step is to run the trace route from our machine to this website, right? So you need to trace route this website and get a similar results and compare them if they use the same path and explain why. Okay, I guess we don't have a question right here. So let's go to the last question here. The last one. Use ping to gain insights into network performance. So what should we do here? In here, we need to download two scripts, two shell scripts here. You can see the link here, and the link probably under somewhere else. I think it's on the top. It's here. You can click them, then you can see the scripts. All you need to do is to download them and download them here like this. Click this link and it will download to your computer. But we need you to download this script on the WeLab machine. So you may have some trouble, like how to download the file into your WeLab. I will tell you the simplest way. Here, because we have a browser in the WeLab, right? So you can open the web page of our course through this page, CSE. Just log in to this web page, then you'll be able to go to the same page and download this through the browser, okay? Or you can use your own driver or your mail or other stuff to download this. It should not be a problem for you. Just use this browser to help you to download the stuff. And once you are getting familiar with the Linux, then you can use some command like scp command, scp command. Used to transfer the files between two computers. You can also like use some SFTP software like FileZilla or other SFTP command application that you can use on this computer. But the simplest way is to use the browser here. And how to run the shell script? Because we have two different shell scripts for this exercise. Let me find it. We have two shell scripts, these two. So once you download it, then you can see it's under the folder like this. So how can we run it? Just right click and open the terminal here. Click this one, then we will open the terminal under this folder. And we can use the ls command to double check it. You can see there are two files here. So how can we run it? It's to just type the name, run ping.sh, right? Let's have a double check. What should be the command is run ping.sh and plus this URL. So it's www.uq.edu.au. And then we can just press enter. So what basically it do is it will run the ping command like this. So it will run a lot of ping command. It will run 50 ping command with interval 1 to this address and save the output to this file. We can see here is the first file, and it will run a lot of similar commands and save a lot of different files here. So all we need to do is to just wait. Okay, just wait until it finished. It will take probably 3 to 5 minutes. You can see the second file was generated. So we just wait for it. And after the first command, you just run the second command and the third command. Okay. And what is the second step is to run the other scripts. So all you need to do just copy and paste, just run this command with this content. So yeah, we just wait here. I will show one of the command to you, but you need to run all of them. Probably we can have a look of the content here. So what is the exactly question for exercise 2? You can see it's very long. So just go through it, run this command, follow the instruction here. So if you have some trouble, run this command. And here are the questions. So just answer them one by one. So I will explain the first question for you. This one is pretty long, but basically it just asks us to do some calculation about the delay and the ratio. So what do we need to do is to do the calculation like this. So we will have a table like this. The first column is the website. we will have 3 websites, so you may have different column here. And then we need to check what is the IP, what is the physical address of this URL. How can we get it is from Brisbane? I will tell you how to do it. Just open the command like this. So we can run the command who is command. Edu is uq.edu.au. Just run the who is command plus the URL address. Oops. Not found. It says we don't know, right? But don't worry. Probably we can check the IP address. Let's get the IP address of them and run the Nslookup. So we got their IP address. Then we run the who is command for this IP address. Okay, so here are the results. You can see there are lots of information as the result of who is command. We just see what we need to know is just the IP address, Information Technology Service of the University of Queensland. Right? So here are the address. The address is University of Queensland. So we can just go to the Google, map.google.com, and do the search. University of Queensland is here. So we need to measure the physical distance from the Queensland to our Kensington campus here. You just click measure distance from here. Sorry. From here to the Kensington. Let's say UNSW, Sydney. See what is the distance from UQ to the Kensington campus. It's around 720 kilometers. Here to here, right? So what will be the result? Sorry, it's around 733. So let's say 740. So that's how we get this number. And then we can calculate what is the t. T is equal to the physical distance divided by the speed of light. This one, this equation here. So this one is the speed of light. This one is the distance. And then we can, how can we get this number? Minimum RTT, round trip time. Then we need to go back here. Yep. Oh, close the VLab, sorry. Let me open it again. Give me a sec. Okay, we're back to here again. Because we need to run the ramping script at first. Then we need to run the second script, plot.sh, right? So we just run the plot.sh uq.edu.au. And then it will generate some PDF here. Then we can have a look. What is the delay? What is the delay PDF? This one. So what is the minimum number of it? Obviously, it's this one, right? So that's how we get this number. This number is the minimum number of it. And once we get all the numbers here, then we can calculate the ratio. The ratio equal to T divided by minimum RTT. And that will be the answer for question 1. Does that make sense? So once you get this table, then you'll be answer all the question under the table, under the question 4, exercise 4. So if you have this table, then you should be able to answer all of them. So if you have any question, just let me know. I think that's all for the exercise here. If we do not have any question to the lab, let's just go to the submission part, because this one is the first lab for you. You may have some trouble on the submission. So I will have a quick demonstration of how to submit your lab. Be aware of the deadline of it. I'm not going to explain the penalty of here because it's very clear. So let's just have a look of the submission. Because you need to finish all the content on the VLab like this. So you should put your PDF file here and the other file in another folder like this. All the content should be in this shape. And then we just back to this folder, to the parent folder here. We can run the terminal here. And we need to compress this folder to a TAR file. So how can we do that? We can use the command TAR CVF -CVF, the name of the compressed file and the folder name, Lab1. Then, yeah, that's all. Press enter. It will compress all the file under the Lab1 into this file, into the lab tar. Can you see that? We can click it and double check if all the stuff is inside it. And then we can run the second command, is the give command to do the submission here. Okay, just to run the give CS3331. and the lab1 there, this one, because here my tar name is the LA lab.tar. I forgot to put a 1 here, so I change it. Yeah. So I just put it here like this and enter. It will ask me to confirm. All I need to do is just type yes and type yes, and it will be confirmed. Okay. So here I will just abort it. So this one should be easy. Just remember these two command line here. First one is to compress, and the second one is to do the submission. That's be good. And yeah, the last part is the report. So how can we do the report? So there are no specific format for our report. So there is no requirement for the like size format or the size of a font or other stuff. But all you need to do is to make it simple and clear. So what does this mean is to just do not put irrelevant stuff to the report. Like you should not put the question itself to a report because we have already know what is the question is. So do not put the like irrelevant stuff into your report. And just to make it very clear, we do not want you to copy or just to make a very long sentence or phrase to describe a thing. We want you to make things very clear and simple. So just answer the question directly, okay? And you may have some trouble on some question. So this is pretty normal. All you need to do is show your effort. So what does this mean is, for example, you have some trouble on the exercise 4 here. Let's say this one. You don't know the second one. So what should you do is to try your best to explain or to guess this question. What is the answer of this question? And show the effort. Like you can say, I do some research of something. I guess this problem is probably like this, but I'm not pretty sure. Something like this. Okay, just show us your efforts, and you will still get some marks. And that's all. So just good luck with your report, and you will have your mark like within a week after your submission. So you will get your feedback very soon. So what if you have any question related to the lab? Because I think most of you didn't start to do the lab for now. So if you have any question, just post it on the forum or just come to the lab. Probably we don't have any further lab for this week, but you can join other labs and ask the question over there. Okay. And even send an email, but because we are not checking email every day or every minute, so I strongly suggest you to use the forum because we will monitor the forum every hour, so we can make sure to get back to you very soon. Okay. And yeah, that's all for today. So if you have any question, just feel free to stay here and share your screen or post it on the chat. If you don't, just feel free to leave. Thank you for today. Yeah, the forum link, I put it on the GitHub here. the GitHub link. I have already sent it on the chat. And click the link forum and see. Yeah, here are some questions. And just ask any question here. I will stop sharing the screen. So if you have any question, just let me know. Yeah, I will stop the recording.